What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar with C-Zar Gets Crypto, and we are talking about Tesla and Bitfarms today. Tesla at the request of Ivan Ye, and Bitfarms for Shareful. We're going to be getting started right about now, so let's get going. Looking at this on the weekly, I'm not a big fan of this RSI. I'm not a non-fan of it either. You know, it's kind of neutral, but what you do have is lower lows and lower highs. You are below the 50. That to me would say that you're probably going to go lower in the more immediate term. Now you do have this kind of broadening pattern right here, right? Where if we take this like low here to this low, you know, you've got that there, this high to these highs, whatever. And maybe those lines aren't drawn perfectly, but just a rough estimation, you can see it's a broadening pattern. And with these kind of patterns, it is common enough to see, you know, coming from the top down, you'd see what they call a partial rise, where you don't hit this line. It's like partially risen from where you would see this descending trend line, right? So you might actually get a bounce around here, maybe even higher than this low, or even slightly below it, but I would think that you're going lower nonetheless. And where could we expect you to go? Let's actually look and see. If you take this top to bottom here, bounced off your 382, really nice. You are at your 236 right now. It would be really nice for Tesla if you can hold that 236. If not, if this week or at any week really before, you know, breaking this high, one of two things needs to happen, right? Either, I should say, two of two things needs to happen. You need to not close below this red line, because if you do, you likely will go back to this 382 or somewhere around there, maybe even a little bit lower. So besides not going below the 236, you also would need to get above this high. If you can get above that high there, you have broken out of this broadening pattern, and that would signal to me that you are ready for the next move up. Generally speaking, with broadening patterns, you get kind of like a 5 leg in it, like a five count, right? And this is from the top, from where it started, it's like a 1, 2, 3, 4. So that would imply to me downside. I do think that you break this 236. I do think that you'll break below $200 again at the current time. You know, that's kind of my opinion. The RSI doesn't look too strong. It doesn't look too weak either, but you are kind of finding resistance at this green line as well. All in all, you do have lower highs in the mix here. Yes, you have higher lows right now, but still lower highs nonetheless. I wouldn't be surprised at all if you went below this low but didn't go below this low. That's kind of my interpretation at the moment. Maybe you come down and find support at the 0.5, which is not common, but you can. It does happen often enough. You know, you do have support and resistance relatively in this area, right? There's your 0.5 support there, resistance there. Maybe you find support a little bit above the 0.5, maybe you find support a little bit below it. But again, I don't think you go below this low. I do think you go below this low. With that being said, looking at the daily now, yeah, the daily's looking a little bit weaker on the RSI. Definitely, in my opinion, rejecting off this overbought zone is not a good look. You have no problem being oversold. You do have a problem getting overbought, and that's not good. If you can show weakness but you can't show strength, I think that's an indication as to where you're going to go. So right now, you couldn't show strength. You were trying, man. You really were trying, but you just couldn't do it. So I think that you are going to go lower. And let's look at the more relative fibs to see if we get anything that lines up with what I was saying, right? So the 618 here, 69 is around 218, 213. You could find support there. You could. That is, you know, relatively right here at this low as well. That is possible. That definitely is possible. But if you don't, I genuinely would expect you go to this 178 area, which is right there around the 0.5, right, on that larger fib. And if we put this here, I'll zoom it back out to the weekly so you can see what I'm talking about, right? In case you have short-term memory, or maybe you weren't paying attention. Either way, it's right there at the 0.5, right there, previous areas of support back here, very near to this previous area of resistance. The more I look at this, the more I do think you are going to see prices below 200, likely below 180, probably not below 155. You know, probably not there. But I do think you take out this low. I don't think you take out that low. It really wouldn't surprise me, again, if you saw what is called a partial rise, and maybe, let me see if I can find a better line. Maybe this is a better line to draw off it. That would take you right there, man. That would take you right there. And you can get really close just because the partial rise would dictate that you don't actually hit this line. That doesn't mean that you have to bounce super far away from it. You can get pretty close to it, and as long as you don't touch it, that still is a technical partial rise. So over the coming months, coming weeks, being that this is the weekly, I would assume like multiple months, you're probably going to be working your way down. You probably will. And I feel like Tesla runs hand in hand with crypto sometimes. So if this thing goes down, and crypto goes down, I'm assuming it will soon. So yeah, probably lower. Probably lower. You got your 0.5 there. You've got your 1.272 there. Again, somewhere below 180 is what I'm thinking. Somewhere above 155 is what I'm thinking. Probably closer to that 180 mark, though, if I really had to guess. With the absolute possibility, there is still potential to hold support at this 220 to 215 area. There is potential for that. So if not, if you close a week below that, I would think you go lower. I think at that point it's like it's all over but the crying at that point. But that's all we got for Tesla. I do think that it will see new all-time highs. I don't think that it's done growing forever, right? I do think it will. But something to keep in mind is, you're in this consolidation phase here, achieving new all-time highs along the way, but you didn't really break out, did you, until 34 months, essentially 3 years, okay, 12, 24, 36, it's 2 months less than 3 years right there before you broke out. Arguably here, just like this here was like the start of your consolidation down here. Yes, you had new highs. I would say that this might be the start of your consolidation because look at where this top came in. This was like the end of your move. You started to stagger off afterwards. You even found lows below this high. I'm going to start the count here. From here until like really you found your low here that sent you up here. Technically you found your low back here, but you found this low that sent you up to new all-time highs, like breaking out, but you didn't technically officially break out until 75 months later. Okay, so you're working with very long time frames of consolidation. I know that's not what anybody wants to hear. They want to hear you're going to make a ton of money by the end of this year. You know what I mean? But right now, from the relative high, you're at 26 months. If we take the same kind of idea where it's not the absolute all-time high that we're measuring from, but like the start of the consolidation phase, maybe back here, where you're at 36 months. So, to be fair, that's not too bad. That's not too bad. You might, you could be getting ready to move out sometime soon, but I think you are going to go lower, and you do have the absolute potential to stay range bound for multiple years to come, unfortunately. But nonetheless, I do think it's going to go lower. It'll probably go higher after that. I do think you're in a more momentary kind of like uptrend. You have the potential for it. I don't think that you're going to go lower than this. I don't think you're going to go lower than this. So finding another higher low is not a bad thing, right? And yes, it's a lower low in this little phase, but overall on this like kind of thing, it's a higher low. And you're still in this more grand downtrend. So it'll be really nice to see. You're probably looking to break out when you do see new highs, right? Or at least things will get a little bit more exciting. But that's probably months away, man. Probably months away, because at a minimum, I would expect it's going to be multiple months before you find this next low that's going to come in lower than this low, higher than this low, around 180 to 155, somewhere around there. So that's all we got for Tesla. Let's move on to Bitfarms. Here we go. Okay, so Bitfarms being a little squirrely, right? It's up 7.3% this week, down a little bit today, whatever. Had a decent day yesterday. Yes, you had a bullish engulf. I would call that a bullish engulfing candle. Technically, most people I think would define it by like the body, but you came all the way down, you came all the way up. I think that's a bullish engulfing candle of sorts, but I wouldn't put too much weight into it. I do think it's going to go lower. I want to look at actually the weekly again. You've been overbought for a little while. Yes, you went up to your 85 area, 86 area. Top to bottom here on your fibs. Tipped the 1618, the golden extension, right? You are holding support on the 1272. You bounced off it, found resistance on your 1414. That's not what you want to see. You don't want to see reverse progress, right? You want to see you break above your 618, you test back, find support on the 69, and then you're off. You break above your 100, you test back, you find support, and then you're off, right? You break above your 1272, you test back on it, and then you're off. Now you're breaking below. You're testing back on it and you're finding resistance. That's not a good thing. You're probably going to see a move that takes you back down to the 886 at a minimum. It's very common to find support down there, so that'd be at like just below $2, right? Enough to kind of capitulate people. You're at 292 now. You went all the way up to 360, 356. The psychological kind of damage that could come with breaking below $2, even though it's just like normal, that might make people think that it's going to go even lower, right? And it could. It absolutely could. We could see the price come down to about 156 to 166, maybe 180, something like that. But it's very, very common whenever you see these extensions being hit to bounce like literally right off the 886. So watch for that. If you go below it, it's not a big deal. It's not the end of the world because it's also common enough. It's just most common to bounce off the 886, but it's common enough to find support on here. If you've been watching the channel, you know how very, very common. Multiple times have we found setups where this exact thing happens. You see these regular extensions, you come down, you bounce right off your 886, like right off it, and then you find deeper extensions. And that could happen with this. The only reason I'm thinking you could go lower is because crypto seems a bit bearish right now, and I don't know how this is going to fare in that. You could go all the way down to the 61869, and you still have a higher low, right? You still have got this uptrend going. So one way or another, probably somewhere between about 156 to 196, somewhere in that range. If I really had to guess, I would think you do go closer to that 156 to 166 area if I really had to guess. But again, it's very, very common to bounce right off that 886. So be aware of that. You are overbought. You come down, you might get oversold. You know, it could take some time, probably again, multiple months before you see this, or at least if you do see it very shortly, it might be multiple months before it's resolved and you start moving back up again. You know, if you were to move down like this, consolidate for a little bit at the bottom and then start moving up again, that would be like March, right? The beginning of March. So probably multiple months of going down and moving sideways altogether. So that's all I got for BITF. Oh no, let's look at it a little bit more. Okay, let's look at it a little bit more. Daily. Lower lows in the RSI, lower lows, not really lower lows in price, kind of. You do have a decent setup with this bounce off the 50, but it didn't really produce anything. It didn't really produce anything at all. Yes, you had the bullish engulfing candle, but yesterday it got stalled. Let's see, not really anywhere. You're bouncing off your 236, which isn't seeing this kind of stuff. I really would think that you go at least to your 382, but probably lower. And look at that, man, right there, 163, 149. That lines up. That's pretty close to that 156 to 166 area. Also, you've got the green line, the 123 moving average there. It's 123, right? That's the moving average. As the days go on, this will continue to move up. You might bounce right off this 618, man. I really think that 160, like 160, 166 area is going to be clutch. 156, 166. That was the more macro fib. So down is where I think you're going. I'm not a huge fan of the daily RSI, though it doesn't look too bad right now. I think that it's not going to take much to turn it ugly. And when it does turn ugly, you were overbought for a while. You're starting to show weakness for your first time in a while. You moved up uncontested. You're going to see a pullback. It's just normal. So that's all I got for you. Both of these things look like they're going down, and then we can talk about some upside, but more in the more immediate term, down. And if you like the video, hit that like button. Subscribe if you'd like to see more. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.